This is a good time to talk about working environment. And I know it sounds like a joke, but I think we're all agreed that what you should do is paint your entire room neutral gray. But then there is what's called TWF, which is the wife factor.
Mm-hmm. The wife factor?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Or the husband factor, but in my case, it's the wife factor.
Actually, in my digital imaging area, I am king. There is no queen.
Oh, God, I stand corrected.
Well, no, I'm just saying that.
Or if I wanted to be catty, I could say, how nice for you.
Yes. Couple of things to consider. First of all, wherever your display is, your visual field, what you see beyond the display should be neutral. And ideally, a middle to light gray, something that's not overly bright. I think it's important to have your main visual field. So I'm sitting here looking at the display. What I see out here and up there should be neutral. Another important...
And not too bright.
And not too bright, although I find in the old days when we worked on CRTs, we had to work in a cave, okay? In this day and age, with these very bright displays, I think it's a problem working in a cave. The one thing that I would say is that you absolutely want no direct light ever striking the screen.
And with these glossy screens, you also don't want to have anything bright behind you.
Some of us have matte.
I ordered matte, but they shipped glossy. What can I tell you?
Yeah. So then the other thing is that if you do have a situation where you've got a room light that is actually striking the screen, then you can actually build a hood. And the NEC that we profiled previously actually came with the hood. It wasn't convenient to put the hood up because then the viewers would not be able to see you. So then the amount of light, the Color Monkey actually measured what that light output was, and for the purposes of filming, it's very bright in here.
Yeah, we have several thousand K spots in this room.
So the key is, since you cannot change the contrast of LCD displays, only the brightness, what you really need to do is to have your ambient light set to the point where when you have black on the screen, you see black, okay? That there's no difference between the black of an image, 000 RGB, and the actual outer bezel of the screen. And you can make sure that your ambient light is bright enough so that it compares and contrasts well. And then we're going to be going over to your GTI light box, and it's also important that the luminosity that you calibrate and profile on your display, the brightness of white, essentially matches the brightness of the white of the paper under the viewing conditions that you are using.
True enough. And as we'll see, I made the mistake when I ordered that light box of not getting the version with the dimmer, which means it's too bright most of the time. But the other thing I wanted to mention, just closing this out in terms of ambient environment, my office at home, and I don't do that much work there, but I do some, and I have a printer there, is painted a very dark purple. She Who Must Be Obeyed painted it a dark purple. And I have found when I'm trying to do some work in that room, it's very difficult during the day. Because even with the blinds closed,
color influence.
Yeah, there's a strong color influence. So I tend to do any color critical work there, and I do have a calibrated and profiled 30-inch cinema display, but I tend to do it at night when there is no light in the room. So it's a bit of a challenge, but
you
we make it work.
Suppose that She Who Must Be Obeyed would allow you to hang a gray muslin behind your display, so
she would probably rather I put a sheet over my head.
That could work.
So, okay.
One of the other things that I'm just going to mention, Michael and I are both graybeards, as evidenced by, and once you get over 40, you have this eyesight that changes. And one of the things that I was going to point out that I highly recommend is the next time you see your eye doctor, and I go literally once a year, I want to keep track of eye pressure, pressure in the eye. So what I do is I actually have what is called an occupational prescription. It's an arm's length plus, because I use 30-inch displays, arm's length plus prescription, and literally I have computer glasses. So when I come in and
Computer
sit down,
glasses.
yeah. Are you not wearing them due to vanity?
Vanity. That's
Yeah,
all
okay.
it is.
I have to wear glasses regularly, so I might as well wear my computer glasses.
Yep.
But I do have a tendency of swapping glasses a lot.
Well, and here's another thing, by the way, because my regular glasses are bifocals. And these are the ones I walk around in, live in all day.
Yeah.
And what I find is,
You'll be going like this.
well, it's an interesting problem because my distance prescription, this is too close, and my reading prescription, this is too far.
Yeah.
So, but the close-up, the reading prescription is better, so I find myself working like this,
Very uncomfortable.
get a kink in my neck. So, strong recommendation, just as important if you wear glasses, just as important as profiling, calibrating more, get a pair of monitor glasses. Again, this raises the issue, 2 monitors. Very handy, whether it's a laptop screen then with an external, or whether it's a regular desktop computer with 2 screens. 2 screens is a really good way to work, and they don't have to be high-end screens. One of them should be, if you can afford it. The other one can be a much more modest screen, and that's the one you use for email and for the menus in the program. Move them, particularly Photoshop, where you can move things around. Do the menus here and just reserve the good calibrated profiled screen for your images.
So one of the things I was going to do is I'll show you what my viewing environment is. This is my studio. I bought it back in 1981 when the neighborhood was terrible, and now, of course, it's great. It's near north in Chicago, just a little bit west of Old Town. The main shooting area is 25 by 52 feet, which is actually a pretty good shooting area. And the imaging area is about 11 by 12 feet, which is actually a pretty good imaging area. It was shot with a Canon 1DS Mark III with a 14 millimeter lens on a 3-shot panel from left to right. So it's got a little bit of wide angle distortion and swooping on the blinds. But it gives a pretty good example of what my imaging environment looks like. It was originally designed by an interior designer that specializes in video editing suites. So they were familiar with the problem of lots of displays and monitors. There's no table legs to get in the way to bang my knees, which I really love. And you'll note that I have elevated platforms for the displays so that they're just slightly down below dead straight on. The main countertop on the right is 48 inches deep, and that allows me to move the displays off to the point where I don't have to worry about seeing the displays too big. On the left side, you'll see I've got an R3000 Epson printer, my laptop, and then a GTI viewing box, which I've actually replaced the original D50 bulbs with D65 bulbs because I think it has a better match to the screen displays. I do have a Solux table lamp on the left side, which I'll oftentimes use to compare and contrast with the GTI light box, and also to really be able to loop up close a printed image. My main CPU down here is a 2009 Mac Pro with 32 gigs of RAM. I've got 4 internal drives. They're 15K SAS drives, a RAID with a Mac RAID card. I would have gone SSD if I'd have done it a year later, but I went with the SAS drives at the time. That was the fastest solution. On the right side, you'll see I have 2 6-drive array units, and what you can't see behind the chair is also a Drobo Pro. The 6-drive array units are from Mac Gurus. They're Burley systems. six 2 terabyte drives striped on a array 0, so they're very fast. My main workstation has two 3090 displays from NEC. Those are the two 30-inch displays. And then I've got a 2690 on the left side just for basically palettes or alternative applications. In this case, I've got Photoshop in the foreground on the main display in the middle with the palettes on the left side, and on the right side I've got Lightroom running. It works out very well to do both digital imaging and also working on my books. You'll see on the right side I've got a second Mac tower. This is a 2006 version. It's old, it's been relegated to kind of secondary use. Still comes in handy, and in fact this is the computer. If you see my posts on Luminous-Landscape, this is the keyboard and the computer that I actually use to make most of my posts to Lula. And one of the things you'll note here on the chair, this is arguably one of the most important things for a purchase in a imaging suite, and that is someplace where you can sit comfortably without killing your back. This is an Aeron Herman Miller chair, and it's one of my prized possessions because, as you might imagine, I spend an enormous amount of time in this chair. The environment that I work with really is color corrected to daylight. I've got gels on the overhead tungsten lighting to be daylight corrected. I've got, the GTI light box, the Solux bulbs, and actually if you look here, I've got little task lights that actually allow to insert a daylight correction gel so that it's not overly orange. One of the most important things, aside from my chair, are my computer glasses. I have a pair of glasses that are really designed to be optimal from my normal viewing distance on the computer. So this pair of glasses, very important to be able to do really, high quality work and be able to not fatigue my eyes. If you notice, there are a couple of odd little things on the desktop. I'm not going to mention them. Maybe we'll have a little contest later. Some stuff that is ancillary. Now, I'll admit that I did do a little bit of HDR work, and this was really designed and imaged to make sure that the environment looked interesting, neat, and kind of daylight balanced. So this basically is the cockpit for the Starship Enterprise with Schewe as the commander.